to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, Trust Talks and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to look for, what to look out for, and what to expect so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. To pressure wash or to power wash? That is the question today. And to answer it and a whole lot more is Eric Palmer, owner of Patriot Pressure Washing out of Manchester. Eric, thanks so much for being with us today. Tell me a little bit about your business.
So we're a veteran-owned business. We do power washing and soft wash for commercial and residential in and around Manchester, Connecticut.
You said commercial and residential?
Correct.
Okay, very good. Now, what is the difference between power washing and pressure washing?
So they're the same. The verbiage is, up north we call it power washing. Down south you would say pressure washing. So it's all the same. But what we do is there's two types of cleanings. You have a soft wash and you have a pressure wash. Soft wash is generally an application cleaning for like vinyl siding or roof cleaning. Your pressure washing would be for your hard surfaces like concrete, brick, foundations, even fire chimneys. Those are what we can use pressure for.
You just answered my next question, which was, are there certain situations where one is better than the other? It
Yes.
sounds like there are.
Yes.
Can pressure washing damage vinyl siding?
So it depends on the level of what we call PSI. And so what I mean by that is, if you're going in and you have a pressure washer and it's doing 4,000, 5,000, PSI, you can cut the siding. What most people don't know is that there's some machines that cut concrete underwater using pressure. Generally, your homeowner's issue, if you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and you buy that type of pressure washer, it's not going to damage it. It will take you a long time to clean the surface because the amount of water that's coming out of that machine is very low compared to what a commercial machine can do.
Okay, so what protections should we be asking a company to put in place to prevent our siding from being damaged?
So one of the things the industry is changing to vinyl siding being more of a soft wash treatment, and the reason being is when you use pressure, there's a possibility of getting water between the siding and the house, which then can cause mold growth. Now, sometimes you'll see siding, they'll have what they call weeping holes, and that allows the water to drain from the siding out. We've taken the policy of we're going to do a soft wash cleaning because we want to prevent any indication of water getting behind the siding, which then can possibly cause mold growth. So that's why we do a soft wash treatment. The other thing too with the soft wash treatment is we don't know the age of the vinyl siding. And so we're also trying to protect the client's siding so that they don't have a crack in the siding due to age and deterioration of the siding.
So not all cleaning solutions are the same, I imagine. It's important to ask the contractor ahead of time what they're going to use. What is best?
So in the industry, most solutions are bleach-based solutions. And depending on the strength, it depends on how dirty the siding is. Now, most people don't think about, they see green growth on their siding and they say, oh, wow, I got to get the house power wash. But what they don't see typically or notice is that there's grease material that gets on there. There's dust material as well. If your house is next to a busy street, you're going to get road exhaust onto the house as well. So it's not always a bleach solution. It could be a degreaser. It could be bleach, or it can be a different type of surfactant to help clean the house.
This is also a point where a consumer can get scammed, though. I understand that some will sell their services at a low price and then they'll charge extra for soaps that really won't do anything. So how can we avoid this?
So right away, if someone says to you, I can do your whole house for $199, that would be a red flag. A reputable company is not going to charge $199 to do your house. They're in the business of doing a great job, and that's the first indication. The number two indication is if they're an all-cash business. If they don't offer you different forms of payment, that's another indication. The other indication is if you want to see if they have any reviews online. Now, I can understand a new business starting out may not have a lot of reviews online. What a consumer can ask is, hey, do you have any references of previous work that you've done in the last week? And if they're able to give those references, great. But it's a combination of things. You know, if they're an all-cash business, if they're low price, because low price is not necessarily a good thing in this industry. You're paying for experience. You're paying for people to do a good job. And the other thing too is in our business, we go through property protection, we go through what we need to do on the job site, and then also we follow up with the client. We also give a guarantee. If there's a problem with the property, you call us and there's no question asked, we're going to come back and address it. There's a terminology in our industry, and it's kind of, and we hate to say it, but it's called splash and dash, which means that someone wets the house, it looks great wet, but when it dries, it doesn't look so great. And so that's why we have our policy in place. If there's an issue with the job, you call us and we will go back and we'll fix the issue.
So what is the average price of power washing or pressure washing a home?
So the average price, it can range anywhere from $350 all the way up to $1,200, depending on the square footage. But also it's challenged too. Is square footage is challenged? Like for example, is it a 2-story house? Is the house built inside of a hill? All those things, because we don't use ladders. That's another indication for some companies. Or if a consumer can ask, do you use ladders? We believe not to use ladders for the following reason: one, for the safety of our personnel. But 2, we don't want to put any ladders on a siding that's going to crack or damage the siding with a ladder. So it's a question that the consumer could ask too.
Is detergent included in that price?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it's not included, that's a red flag.
It should be all inclusive. If someone says, "Hey, can you give me an estimate or quote for this?" and they give you a quote, that's generally I've never had a customer ask me, well, is that including detergent, or that's always included.
Okay. And any other tactics that we should be wary of less than trustworthy contractors? I mean, are you supposed to pay up front? Usually we say, you pay a down payment or deposit, and then when the job is finished, you finish paying. How does it work in your industry?
Yeah, so in my industry, the only time we go into a upfront deposit is when we're dealing with a big commercial facility. For a homeowner, I have enough trust with that homeowner that I'm not worried that they're not going to pay. We've built that rapport, and so I always tell and I've had the homeowner offer, can I pay up front? And I actually say no. I say, I tell them we will get payment upon completion of the job, and that keeps us honest as a business, and also that ensures that the customer has that. If they have an issue or complaint, they can still come to us and say, hey, I don't feel comfortable paying you yet because there's some following issues. Can you address those? And we're like, sure, we'll address those for you. Not a problem.
Okay, so take me through the job. You arrive at the home. What happens first? Take me from beginning to end.
So when we arrive at the job, we're going to walk the property first. We're going to look at the outside outlets to see if there are any outside outlets. If there are, then we're going to cover them. We're also looking to see if there's any pets in the backyard. If there are, then we'll notify the client, can you please, bring the pet in? And then also, we're looking for other damages, like is there cracked siding? Are the windows open? We've run into some issues where there were some windows open, and we just couldn't do the job because I don't want to have overspray going into the house. Now we do advise the clients, if they can, to remove the screens so that we can rinse the window wells as we're cleaning, so they get that benefit of the window wells getting rinsed as we're washing the house. But we will walk the property. If we notice anything, we'll call the customer immediately and say, hey, this is what we noticed. We've actually, if we see things that need to be fixed, like if there's a piece of metal hanging from the soffit, we note that and we'll tell the client after the job's been done, hey, we noticed the following things that probably need to be addressed in the near future.
And then how long does it typically take?
So generally our process is about, about 2 hours to 2.5 hours, depending on the size and scope. It could be sooner, but roughly about 2.5 hours.
And you put the soap on first, and then you wash it, and then you rinse
So
it. And...
yeah, what we'll do is we do part of that property protection is we walk around, look at the plants. We'll pre-rinse all the plants. Just in case if any of our solution gets on the plants, there's some dilution that happens there. We'll apply our soap solution. We'll let it dwell, and then we'll go back around and rinse everything off, and then we'll rinse the plants off as well. We particularly like to do soft wash for the following reasons. One, it's safer for the siding, and when we spray our solution on the siding, it sticks, and we have to let the solution work for a few minutes, usually 2 to 5 minutes. And what that solution is doing is lifting the organic material off the siding. So when we rinse it, it's rinsing the soap solution off and the organic material off as well. If you pressure wash, what happens is when you're pressure washing that siding, you're creating a static bond with the material. So it's actually harder to remove that material off because you're just adding more static and it's making that material stick. And so that's why we prefer soft wash. It's safer for the house. Plus, like I said, you don't know the age of the siding. It could be faded. It can have oxidation. It could be cracked. And so we're cognizant of that siding.
Why is it worth the expense of hiring a professional like yourself versus just going out and renting the equipment and doing it yourself?
So you can do that, and I think the benefit are the following. One is your time. Two, most people on average don't use a pressure washer on a consistent basis. So you use it once, and then 9 times out of 10 it stays in your garage, and it's just taking up space. The other benefit is we're bringing our knowledge and our expertise because we do this on a consistent basis every single day. It's sometimes, you as a homeowner, you'll want to wash the house, and that's great, more power to you. Most homeowners will take half a day to a full day to power wash their house, versus when we come in, we're doing it in about 2.5 hours. And so it is worth your time instead of time and your investment in the machine. The other thing too is when we come in, we have the eye for things. We're constantly seeing things, and sometimes a homeowner will tell me, well, that doesn't look too dirty. And I'm like, well, you'll be surprised when I clean it. And they are really shocked because they're like, wow, I didn't believe my house could look this brand new again. Yeah. And because when we're doing it constantly, we know what to look for when we're cleaning the house. We're looking for exhausts around the vents of the gable vents. We're looking at what we call tiger stripes, which means that the gutter fills up and then the water drips over and causes the tiger stripe. So we can get that off. We're looking at different forms of mold. Not all mold is green. Sometimes the mold can be black. And so all those things we can address with our process.
Are there any materials or substances that can't be removed, either on a building or a home, with pressure washing or soft washing?
I'd be very mindful. We get a lot of calls for driveway tar. So if you have a company that's coming in and doing your driveway, I would highly recommend for that homeowner to put some type of plastic or request a contractor to put some plastic up, so when they're laying down the driveway, any tar splash or whatever, if it gets onto the siding, then it's very hard to remove that. The other thing too is, we see it all the time, is keep your grills away from the siding. I know it may seem common sense, but we come across a lot of homes with decks, and you can tell that there's the siding is melted a little bit from the grill, so keep the grill from the siding.
When we bought our house, we noticed that too, that the previous owner had their grill there's one little section that's just a little wavy, yep. Unfortunately. What question do you get asked the most by consumers, and what questions should we be asking before we hire a professional pressure washer?
So one of the questions I would ask is, what is your guarantee right away? Because if someone is a legitimate company that's in it for the long haul, they're going to offer a guarantee. They're going to offer it because they value their reputation, and they value the word of mouth. A lot of my business comes from word of mouth now because we do such a good job. The other thing too is I would look at their reviews online. They're very powerful. People that are invested in their reviews are very cognizant of that customer-client relationship and experience. That's
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Now, are there certain times of the year that it's better to have this work done than others?
The best time of year is when it's not freezing.
Okay.
So our season usually begins beginning of April and goes up until probably around the 1st of December, depending on weather. We've had some years where we had to stop in October. It just depends on the year. I would say if you're very concerned about when to choose, if you're a person that has allergies, I would wait until after the springtime for the pollen to set, and then wash the house after the pollen is set. If the other thing too, what we've experienced is that people, before they sell a house, they'll have the house power washed. Believe it or not, that actually increases the value and your sell value. Most real estate agents I work with will ask their clients, we need to have your house power washed because it's going to help to sell the house.
Okay, that makes sense. Can this work be done in the rain?
Yes.
Should it be done in the rain?
Yes. So we have our policy is if there's no lightning, we're good. If it's not monsooning, if it's not like a torrential downpour, we'll do the work.
And why is that a good thing to have that rain?
Well, it's not necessarily a good thing. Is that we're limited on time.
Okay.
And so when we're trying to meet the market demand, we're just trying to work as many days as we possibly can.
I had read when I did my research that rain allows power washing detergents to sit on exterior surfaces without drying. What say you about that?
Yes, so it's very good point, because during the hot months we're very cognizant of solution drying, because our challenging months are June, July, and August. And so when those months happen, usually we have 2 people on site. One person's applying the solution and another person's following up, rinsing, because the dry time is so fast. Even, believe it or not, the siding can get hot. And so what we do is our guys will go up and they'll actually touch the siding to see how hot the siding is. If it's warmer than we want, we'll actually pre-rinse the siding to cool it down prior to applying our solution and then rinsing afterwards.
Now, do companies typically bring in their own water, or do they use the customers?
Generally, 90% of the time we're using the customer's water. Now, there are scenarios where we may haul in water. Now, we prefer not to haul in water for our safety because it's a lot of weight. It's, if you're hauling in a couple 100 gallons of water, that's a lot of water weight. Typically what we do is we ask the client if they're on well water. And we know the areas of Connecticut where their wells are more prone, and then we'll ask a follow-up question, how is your well pressure? What we do is we have what they call a buffer tank. So the water goes into the tank, and then from the tank it feeds the machine. And the reason it's important is because what can happen if a company just hooks up to the hose and that pressure washer is going on, off, on, off, on, off, that pump is going on, off, on, off, versus the pump running consistently. So if a consumer says, hey, I have a well, the question they should ask is, do you have a buffer tank that your machine feeds off of? Because that means when they fill up the tank, the pump is on consistently, and it's not doing that on, off, on, off, on, off. Okay. And that will help with that well pump.
Okay, that's very good to know. You had mentioned it before, but in case we didn't catch it the first time, how long does it typically take to do a home?
Roughly, 2 to 2.5 hours. Okay. Unless it's over 3,000 square feet, then it's going to be probably more than that. But typically, anywhere from a 1,300 square feet to 2,400 square feet home, you're looking at about 2.5 hours.
Okay. You've answered all of my questions in great detail. Is there anything I missed, or anything that you want to make sure you point out?
So this industry is, I love this industry. I love power washing. It was a great way to transition from the military into the civilian world. There's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of good companies out there. What I would highly recommend anybody that's looking for pressure washing services is just, the saying goes, get 3 quotes. I would expand upon that, and I would verify with 3 different sources. i.e., are they part of a Better Business Bureau? Are they part of a Chamber of Commerce? Are they part of, do they have a Facebook page? The reason I say that is if the client has a problem, at least they have an outlet to express that problem so that that contractor may resolve that issue. The other thing too is that in this industry, a lot of the guys are one or two man outfits, and that makes it very challenging for customers because they'll call and they get a voicemail, and that's just by industry design. If someone doesn't get back to you within 24 hours, I would say it's time to move on to the next company because they're just too busy. The other thing too to look at in this industry, there's companies that are scheduled out 3-4 weeks.
I was going to ask how far in advance?
Yeah, so we typically try to handle our workload week to week because I do not want to have a customer waiting 3-4 weeks. I want to handle the workload, and if I need to hire another individual, I'll hire another individual. But we do not. Our philosophy is we should not be booked out more than a week, so that because you don't know if someone's having a birthday party, a graduation party. They don't. They may be wanting to put the house on the market. They need that immediate job done quickly so it doesn't hold up their life.
And speaking of hiring subcontractors, you, as you mentioned, are a veteran-owned business,
Yeah.
and you hire members of the military.
Yes,
don't you?
I do.
Why is that important to you?
One is I can give guidance of what needs to be done, and it's going to get done. My guys are very OCD about what they do. They treat that everybody's house is like, this is my house. It's not just a customer's house. This is my house. They pay attention to detail so that we don't cause work. I mean, one of the things I tell customers all the time, I'm here to solve a problem, not create a problem. I'm here to solve a problem, not create a problem. And I tell that to my guys too. Be mindful. And I like hiring veterans because they have that level of paying attention to detail because they've been in sticky situations. They're going to get the job done. They have ability to generate good rapport with folks, and they enjoy doing it, and so that's why I like to hire veterans.
You are a member of Better Business Bureau. You've been accredited now for some time. Tell me what that accreditation means to you and what do you hope it says to your customers?
Well, it's accountability. It's not always easy to be up and up, but it's accountability. So when I have a challenging customer or sell, I say, well, or they're nervous about going with us, I start saying, hey, you have an outlet. Yeah, we're part of the Better Business Bureau. We're part of the Chamber of Commerce. And we start listing who we're a part of. And so the Better Business Bureau has helped us win business because it instills that confidence in the customer that, hey, we're going to do a good job while we're there. And so that's, for us, it's been a kind of a shield for us as a business owner because, most people don't go through that process of getting vetted. We've been vetted. And so when someone looks at that logo, they know, okay, I know I'm not going to get scammed. They've been vetted, and that trust is already established with the customer.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you enlightening us about soft washing and pressure washing today. A lot of good tips, so thank you very much. We appreciate it.
No worries.
And as Eric mentioned, you can always go to bbb.org, look at those customer reviews and those complaints, look at how the companies handle those complaints. You can actually get several quotes just with the click of the mouse there, and then find an accredited pressure or soft wash business near you. We thank you for joining us. That does it for Trust Talks. We'll see you next time.
follow us on Instagram at nutmeg.tv.